Nadia Sanders, a cynical Silicon Valley developer, built the Mismatch app to prove dating algorithms are useless by matching users with their worst possible partner. The cruel irony? The app's first high-profile match is none other than her competitive, infuriating, and impossibly attractive office rival, Nathan Stanley. The anti-dating app that found my perfect match. An enemies to lovers fake dating rom-com. Chapter 1, The Worst Idea Ever, which is also my best work. If there's one thing I've learned from 5 years of developing dating apps in Silicon Valley, it's that people are idiots when it comes to love. Beautiful, hopeful, desperate idiots who will literally swipe right on a photo of someone holding a fish. I should know, I've built 3 dating apps. One for dog lovers, BarkMatch, one for people who hate small talk, Deep Dive, and one for environmentalists who only want to date other people with appropriate carbon footprints, EcoHeart, currently in litigation after someone lied about composting. None of them made me rich. All of them made me cynical. Which is why, at 2 a.m. on a Tuesday, fueled by cold pizza and spite, I created the worst dating app imaginable, Mismatch. The concept was simple and beautifully terrible. Instead of matching people based on compatibility, shared interests, and mutual attraction, Mismatch would do the opposite. It would analyze your profile, determine everything you value in a partner, and then match you with someone who embodied none of those qualities. A vegan matched with a butcher. A marathon runner with someone whose idea of exercise is reaching for the remote. A morning person with someone who considers noon early. I laughed maniacally while coding it. I may have even rubbed my hands together like a cartoon villain. What are you working on? I jumped, knocking over my 3rd energy drink. Nathan Stanley stood behind my desk, because of course he did. Nathan had a supernatural ability to appear whenever I was doing something embarrassing, which was often. Nothing, I said, closing my laptop with suspicious speed. Why are you here? It's 2 a.m. I work here. Why are you here? He leaned against my desk, all 6 feet something of infuriating handsomeness. Nathan had one of those faces that looked like it had been focus grouped for maximum appeal. Strong jaw, stupidly symmetrical features, eyes that crinkled when he smiled, which he did often because life apparently gave him things to smile about. We'd been hired at Heartware Technologies on the same day 2 years ago. Since then, we'd been in constant competition for projects, promotions, and the single good parking spot. I asked first, I said. I'm debugging the personality matrix for CharmSync. He grabbed a slice of my pizza without asking. You? Building something that will make CharmSync obsolete. He laughed. Nathan had an annoying laugh, warm and genuine, like someone who didn't spend their nights contemplating the heat death of the universe. Sure you are, Sanders. You've been saying that for 2 years. This time I mean it. You said that about Deep Dive, and EcoHeart, and that weird app that matched people based on their Netflix viewing history. StreamMate was ahead of its time. It matched serial killers with people who watch serial killer documentaries. That's not compatibility. That's a crime waiting to happen. I hated that he was right. I hated that he remembered all my failed projects. I hated that he looked good, even at 2 a.m., when I probably looked like a gremlin that had been fed after midnight. This is different, I said. This is revolutionary. Then show me. No. Why not? Because you'll steal it. He clutched his chest in mock offense. Me? Nathan Stanley, voted most trustworthy in my college fraternity? You were in a fraternity? That explains so much. It was a professional business fraternity. That's what people in regular fraternities say. He grinned, and I hated that too, how his smile made my stomach do this annoying flippy thing, like it was auditioning for Cirque du Soleil. Fine, keep your secrets, he said, heading back to his desk across the open plan office. But when it fails, I get to say I told you so. When it succeeds, I get your parking spot. Deal. I watched him settle at his desk, running his hand through his dark hair in that absent way he did when he was concentrating. Then I shook myself. Nathan Stanley was the enemy, an attractive enemy who smelled inexplicably good even after working 12-hour days, but still the enemy. I turned back to my laptop and continued building Mismatch, perfecting the algorithm that would match people with their absolute worst possible partners. I had no idea I was building my own romantic mousetrap. Chapter 2, Launch Day, or How I Accidentally Became a Viral Sensation. 3 weeks later, Mismatch went live. I hadn't told anyone at Heartware about it. This was a side project, built on my own time, using my own resources, which in Silicon Valley terms meant built while eating ramen and ignoring my mother's phone calls asking when I was going to settle down. Never, Mom. I've seen what love does to people. It's like a lobotomy, but with more tears. I launched it as a joke, a satirical commentary on the dating app industry. I made the branding deliberately terrible. Harsh red and black colors, a logo that looked like a heart being stabbed, and a tagline that read, "Find your worst match. We dare you." The App Store description was pure sarcasm. Tired of compatible partners? Sick of meaningful connections? Mismatch uses advanced AI to pair you with someone you'll absolutely hate. Perfect for people who think they have dating figured out. You don't. I posted it to Reddit, sent it to a few tech blogs, and figured maybe a few hundred people would download it for laughs. By the end of day 1, I had 50,000 downloads. By day 3, I was trending on Twitter. By day 5, I was sitting across from Nathan in our boss's office while Aranda Chen, Heartware's CEO, looked at me with an expression that could either mean you're fired or you're getting a raise. With Miranda, it was always hard to tell. Explain this to me again, Miranda said, scrolling through her phone. You built an app that deliberately matches people incorrectly? As satire, I said, social commentary on how dating apps reduce human connection to a series of algorithms, and it has 300,000 downloads in less than a week? Oh, well, yes, that's unexpected. Nathan, who had been silent until now, finally spoke. And people are actually using it? Like going on dates? Apparently. I'd been monitoring the reviews obsessively. Most were exactly what I expected. Hilarious concept, matched me with someone who chews loudly, or perfect gag gift for your single friends. But then there were others. Actually had a great conversation with my worst match. And sometimes what you think you want isn't what you need. That last one had given me hives. Miranda leaned back in her chair. The press is calling it the anti-dating app for the post-romance generation. Venture capitalists are emailing me. There's a waiting list of tech blogs wanting interviews. I'm sorry, I said, unsure if I should be apologizing or celebrating. Don't be. I'm impressed. But I have concerns about how this reflects on Heartware. We're in the business of bringing people together, not pushing them apart. Actually, Nathan interjected, and I shot him a death glare that he ignored. From a PR perspective, this could be huge for Heartware. Shows we're not afraid of innovation, even disruptive innovation. We could acquire Mismatch, integrate it into our portfolio as the fun option, the anti-establishment choice that still establishes us as industry leaders. I stared at him. Was Nathan helping me? Miranda considered this. Nadia, what do you think? What did I think? I thought Nathan was up to something. Nathan was always up to something. He was like a golden retriever that had learned corporate strategy, friendly on the surface, ruthlessly competitive underneath. I'd need creative control, I said, and I want to run point on development. Obviously, Miranda said. Nathan, you'd supervise, since you have more experience with scaling apps. I want you two working together on this. And there it was, the catch. Together, I said, as in both of us? Is that a problem? Miranda's eyebrow arched. No, Nathan and I said simultaneously, then glared at each other. Excellent. I'll have legal draft the acquisition paperwork. In the meantime, I want a presentation on expansion strategy by Friday. The board wants to see this. We were dismissed. Nathan held the door open for me, which was polite and therefore suspicious. Why did you do that? I asked once we were back in the main office. Do what? Help me. Suggest Heartware acquire Mismatch. You hate when I succeed. I don't hate when you succeed. I hate when you succeed more than me. But this, he gestured vaguely, this is too big for petty office rivalry. This could be huge for both of us. So you're using my success to boost your own career? Obviously. What did you think? That I suddenly became altruistic? Despite everything, I almost smiled. At least he was honest about being terrible. Fine, but I'm lead developer. You're just supervising. Supervising, right. His smile suggested he had very different ideas about our working relationship. But before I could argue, my phone buzzed. It was an alert from Mismatch. Someone had sent me a match request. I frowned. I hadn't actually made a profile on my own app. That would be like a chef eating at their own restaurant. Unprofessional and slightly sad. What's wrong? Nathan asked. Nothing. Just, I opened the app and felt the blood drain from my face. There, on my screen, was a profile I definitely hadn't created, complete with photos I definitely hadn't uploaded. Where had it gotten that picture of me at my cousin's wedding looking actually presentable? And worse, so much worse, was the notification, Perfect Mismatch Found, Nathan Stanley, compatibility 0%. You're going to hate everything about each other. Click to connect. No, I whispered. What? Nothing. I shoved my phone in my pocket. Nothing. I have to go. Work things, app things, far away from here things. I practically ran to my desk, leaving Nathan looking confused and, damn him, adorable in his confusion. This was impossible. I hadn't created a profile. The app couldn't have matched me with someone, especially not Nathan. And it definitely couldn't have labeled him as my perfect mismatch, because that would imply that the app's algorithm, which I had personally designed to be maximally incompatible, had somehow determined that Nathan and I were... No, absolutely not. This was a glitch, a bug in the code. I'd fix it immediately. I opened my laptop and dived into Mismatch's back end, searching for the error. But there was no error. The algorithm had analyzed my digital footprint. Apparently it was more invasive than I'd intended. Note to self, fix that before the privacy lawsuits. Created a profile based on my preferences and personality, and then, following its programming, found the person least compatible with me. Nathan Stanley, 0%. Perfect opposites in every measurable category, which meant, according to my own algorithm, we were ideally mismatched. This is fine, I muttered. This is totally fine. I'll just delete my profile and pretend this never happened. But when I tried to delete it, another notification popped up. Deletion requires mutual consent from both matched parties. Mismatch believes in commitment, even to terrible relationships. Past me, who had coded that feature as a joke, was now present me's worst enemy. My phone buzzed again, a message within the app. Nathan Stanley, did you just match with me on Mismatch? I didn't know you had a profile. I stared at the message, then at my laptop, then at Nathan's desk across the office, where he was looking at his phone with an expression of amused confusion. This was a nightmare. This was also, horrifyingly, about to become much more complicated. Chapter 3. The Arrangement, or How I Agreed to the Dumbest Thing Ever. Let me get this straight, my best friend Zara said, talking around a mouthful of pad thai. Your anti-dating app, which you built specifically to mock dating apps, has matched you with your office nemesis, and now you can't delete either profile without his consent. That's an accurate summary, yes. And you're surprised by this? Nadia, you literally coded irony into an algorithm. This is the most predictable outcome imaginable. We were at our favorite Thai place, a hole in the wall that Zara had discovered during her brief phase of dating a food blogger. The relationship hadn't lasted, but our weekly dinner tradition had. It's not ironic, I protested. It's a technical malfunction. It's absolutely ironic. It's like rain on your wedding day level ironic. That's not actually ironic, that's just unfortunate. See, this is why you're single. You're too pedantic to fall in love.
I love making these videos for you. If you liked this story, then please like, subscribe to my channel, and switch on the notifications for more entertaining stories. Please also leave a comment for any story suggestions.
I'm single because I'm too smart to fall in love. Love is just biochemical reactions designed to trick us into reproducing. It's evolutionary manipulation. Zara pointed her fork at me. And yet you built a dating app? An anti-dating app. The distinction is important. So what are you going to do? Ask Nathan to delete the profiles? I had considered this for approximately 3 seconds. Then I'd imagined the conversation. Hey Nathan, so the app matched us, which is weird, so could you help me delete everything and never speak of this again? He'd either mock me mercilessly, or, worse, think I cared. Both outcomes were unacceptable. I'm going to ignore it. Eventually, the algorithm will time out, and the match will expire. When does it expire? I took a long drink of my Thai iced tea. 90 days! 90 days? Nadia! It's meant to force commitment. I coded it when I was feeling particularly cynical about people giving up too easily. So for 3 months, you and Nathan are technically matched on your own hate dating app. It's not a hate dating app, I stopped. Actually, yes, that's exactly what it is. Zara grinned. This is the best thing that's ever happened to you. My life falling apart is the best thing that's ever happened to me? Your controlled, isolated, carefully managed life experiencing genuine chaos is the best thing that's ever happened to you. Do you know what you need, Nadia? Chaos, surprise, something that doesn't fit into your 5-year plan. My 5-year plan is excellent. It involves a senior developer position, a nice apartment in Pacific Heights, and a cat. 1 cat? Maybe 2, if they get along. You've planned your cat's compatibility? Do you hear yourself? Before I could defend my entirely reasonable life goals, my phone buzzed. Another mismatch notification. Nathan Stanley. We should talk about this app situation. I showed Zara the message. She clapped her hands together like an evil fairy godmother. Say yes. Tell him you'll meet him. Absolutely not. Nadia, the entire company knows you two are working together on Mismatch now. If this gets out, and it will, because tech companies are worse than high schools for gossip, it'll be amazing publicity. Creator of anti-dating app matched with coworker is a headline waiting to happen. I hated that she was right. I hated that she was always right, which is why she was a successful marketing consultant while I was debugging code at 2 a.m. Fine, I'll talk to him, but only to figure out how to fix this professionally. Sure, professionally. Zara's smile suggested she didn't believe me at all. I met Nathan at a coffee shop equidistant from both our apartments, which we determined through a passive-aggressive text exchange about who had to commute further. He was already there when I arrived, sitting at a corner table with 2 coffees. He pushed one toward me as I sat down. Black coffee, no sugar, he said. I stared at the cup suspiciously. How do you know how I take my coffee? We've worked together for 2 years, Nadia. I pay attention. That's creepy. That's observant. There's a difference. I took a sip. It was exactly right, which was annoying. So, the app, he agreed. Quite a situation. It's a glitch. I'll fix it. Except you can't, because your own code won't let you delete the profiles without mutual consent. Which is brilliant, by the way. Diabolical, but brilliant. Thanks, I said uncertainly. He leaned back in his chair, studying me with those annoyingly perceptive eyes. Here's what I'm thinking. Miranda wants us to present Mismatch to the board on Friday. That's 4 days away. I'm aware of how calendars work. If they find out the creator is matched on her own app with her coworker, there are 2 ways this goes. Either it's a PR disaster that makes us look unprofessional, or it's the best marketing story ever. You sound like Zara. Is Zara the friend who keeps leaving comments on Heartware's Instagram about how our logo looks like a diseased organ? That's her. She's in marketing. She's not wrong about the logo, but she's also right about this. We could use this, Nadia. We pretend to date as a publicity stunt. Show that even mismatch can lead to connection. It's meta-marketing. You sound like Zara. Is Zara the friend who keeps leaving comments on Heartware's Instagram about how our logo looks like a diseased organ? That's her. She's in marketing. She's not wrong about the logo, but she's also right about this. We could use this, Nadia. We pretend to date as a publicity stunt. Show that even mismatch can lead to connection. It's meta-marketing. I nearly choked on my coffee. Absolutely not. That's the worst idea I've ever heard. And I once pitched an app that rated people's exes. Was that before or after StreamMate? It was a dark period in my life. We don't talk about it. The point is, Nathan continued, in furiously calm, this could work. We date for the 90 days, document it for social media, and by the time the match expires, Mismatch is the most talked about app in Silicon Valley. We both get promoted, you get your senior developer position, I get my parking spot. I was going to say recognition, but I'll also take your parking spot. I should have said no. Everything about this plan screamed disaster, but there was a logic to it that my developer brain couldn't ignore. And more importantly, there was the look on Nathan's face. Challenging, competitive, that same look he got when we were racing to debug code or pitch ideas to Miranda. He didn't think I'd do it, which meant I absolutely had to do it. Fine, I said, fake dating, 90 days, but we need rules. Obviously, what kind of fake relationship doesn't have rules? I pulled out my phone and opened a new note. Rule 1. This is purely professional. No actual feelings. Agreed. Rule 2. We maintain the rivalry at work. Can't have people thinking we've gone soft. Rule 3. We split all dating expenses 50-50. This is a business arrangement. Rule 4. No posting on social media without the other person's approval. Rule 5. At the end of 90 days, we both agree to delete the profiles, break up publicly, and never speak of this again. Rule 6. No telling anyone it's fake, not even Zara or whoever I would tell, which would probably be my brother, but he wouldn't care anyway. We looked at our list. 6 rules for a fake relationship with my office nemesis to promote an app I'd built to mock dating. This is insane, I said. Completely, Nathan agreed. We're really doing this? He extended his hand across the table. Partners? I looked at his hand, then at his face, then back at his hand. Somewhere in my developer brain, warning lights were flashing. Error messages were scrolling. Every rational part of me was screaming that this was a terrible idea. I shook his hand. Partners. His grip was warm and firm, and he held on a beat longer than necessary. So, he said, smiling that damnable smile, when's our first date? Chapter 4. Our First Date, or Why I Hate Miniature Golf. Nathan insisted our first fake date should be miniature golf, which told me everything I needed to know about his character. No one actually likes miniature golf, I said, standing in front of Glow Putt, a garish building that looked like someone had given a carnival booth radioactive superpowers. It's what people do when they've run out of actual date ideas. Exactly. We're documenting this, remember? We need content, pictures, stories, and miniature golf is photogenic. Miniature golf is ridiculous. It's regular golf, but more humiliating. Have you ever actually played? No, because I'm not a sadist. He grinned and handed me a purple putter from the attendant. Then today you learned something new. That's what dating is about, right? New experiences? This isn't dating. This is theater. Theater can be fun, said the man who probably enjoyed high school. I was actually very awkward in high school. Braces, acne, the whole package. I looked at his current face, symmetrical, clear-skinned, infuriatingly handsome. I don't believe you. I'll show you pictures sometime. My brother still brings them out at Thanksgiving. The thought of Nathan having a family, a history, a life beyond being my office nemesis was oddly disconcerting. I pushed it aside. This was fake. This was professional. This was content. He pulled out his phone. Ready for the first official mismatch date post? Do I look ready? You look terrified, which is actually perfect, very relatable. He opened Instagram, angling the phone to capture both of us with the neon glow putt sign in the background. Smile like you're being held hostage, but politely. That's my regular smile. I know, it's great. Despite myself, I laughed, and he snapped the photo at exactly that moment. Me laughing, him grinning, both of us glowing in the nuclear neon light. He typed quickly. First hashtag mismatch date with @NadiaSanders. She's already regretting this. I give us 3 holes before she threatens to throw a putter at my head. Hashtag worst match ever. Hashtag anti-dating. Hashtag this is fine, probably. You're not tagging me in that. Too late. Posted. Nathan. What? It's good content. Look, 17 likes already. It's been 20 seconds. Welcome to going viral, Sanders. He gestured toward the first hole, which was shaped like a dragon's mouth.
Shall we? The thing about miniature golf, I learned, is that it's a perfect metaphor for how the universe enjoys humiliation. The first hole seemed simple. Hit the ball through the dragon's mouth, let it roll down its throat, and watch it emerge from the tail into the cup. A child could do it. Several children were, in fact, doing it around us with annoying success. My ball hit the dragon's teeth, bounced backward, and nearly took out Nathan's ankle. Good start, he said cheerfully. I'm going to throw this putter at your head. See, I'm psychic. He took his shot, and naturally, because of course, his ball rolled smoothly through the dragon and plopped directly into the hole. I hate you. You're supposed to be dating me, remember? Try to look less homicidal. This is my neutral face. Your neutral face suggests you're planning my murder. I'm a developer. I'm always planning something. He laughed, which made the couple at the next hole look over and smile like we were cute. We were not cute. We were combatants in a miniature golf war that I was losing badly. By the 5th hole, a windmill that I'm pretty sure violated several physics laws, I developed a theory. You've played before, I accused. You're suspiciously good at this. I come here sometimes when I need to think. You come to miniature golf to think? What are you, a serial killer? It's meditative, repetitive, plus the bad pizza helps me focus. They have pizza here? Terrible pizza. The best terrible pizza in the city. I looked at him, this person I'd worked alongside for 2 years but never really looked at. Nathan, who apparently came to neon miniature golf courses to think, who knew my coffee order, who had a brother that mocked him at Thanksgiving. What? He asked, noticing my stare. Nothing, just, you're weird. Coming from you, I'll take that as a compliment. My phone buzzed. Zara had found the Instagram post. Zara, OMG, you're on a date. Zara, a real date. Zara, with the hot nemesis. Zara, I'm so proud I might cry. Me, it's not real, it's for marketing. Zara, sure, Jan. Zara, you're wearing the sweater I said makes you look approachable. Zara, this is real. I looked down. Damn it, I was wearing the approachable sweater. Everything okay? Nathan asked. Zara thinks this is real. Good, that means it's working. He moved to the next hole, then paused. For what it's worth, I think this is fun, even if it's fake. Fun, I repeated. We have different definitions of fun. What's your definition? Solving a particularly complex coding problem, finishing a book series, proving someone wrong with data. See? And I would have guessed crushing your enemies and hearing the lamentation of their code. I tried not to smile. Failed. That too. We played through all 18 holes. I got better, or the holes got easier, or I stopped caring about winning and started paying attention to other things, like how Nathan narrated each shot like a golf commentator, how he genuinely celebrated when I finally got a hole-in-one on the volcano hole, how he bought us both terrible pizza and was absolutely right. It was the best terrible pizza I'd ever had. As we were leaving, he took another photo, both of us holding putters, scorecards visible. He'd won by 15 strokes, but who was counting? Grinning like idiots. Nathan typed,
Update, she didn't throw the putter. Hashtag mismatch might be onto something. Same time next week, at Nadia Sanders. Hashtag worst match ever. Actually, though. I read it over his shoulder. Why are you assuming there's a next week? Because, according to our fake relationship timeline, we need consistent content for the next 90 days. And because, he hesitated, because I had fun. Even if you're required to pretend to hate me. I'm not pretending. Sure, but he smiled when he said it, and something in my stomach did that annoying flippy thing again. We walked to our cars in comfortable silence. When we reached mine, Nathan leaned against it in a way that should have been annoying but somehow wasn't. So, he said, first fake date, success or disaster? I considered. By all metrics, it had been absurd. Miniature golf with my office rival to promote an app I'd built as satire. We documented it for social media. We'd followed our rules. It was perfectly fake. Except, it hadn't felt fake. It had felt like fun. Acceptable, I said finally. But next time, I choose the activity. There's a next time? Don't sound so smug. I'm not smug. I'm documentedly pleased. He pushed off my car. Text me when you get home? Why? Because that's what people who are dating do. Even fake dating. It's content. Everything is content with you. Everything is code with you. We're both reducing human experience to data. At least mine gets likes. He walked to his car, and I sat in mine, watching him drive away while my phone buzzed with notifications. Our posts were getting traction. Comments rolled in. This is the cutest thing ever. I love that you can tell they actually kind of hate each other. Hashtag relationship goals, but make it enemies to lovers. That last one made me throw my phone onto the passenger seat. I drove home, ordered Chinese food, and tried to work on Mismatch's code, but I kept thinking about Nathan's laugh when I'd hit the windmill instead of the ball, his voice doing sports commentary for miniature golf, the way he'd said I had fun, like he meant it. My phone buzzed. Nathan, home safe? Me, yes, why? Because I'm supposed to care. We're dating, remember? Me, fake dating. The best kind of dating. No actual emotions, all the social credit. Exactly. Same time next week? I should have said no. Should have suggested we space out our fake dates, maintain distance, keep this professional. Instead, I typed, fine, but I'm choosing the activity, and it won't involve any sport, miniature or otherwise. Deal. Can't wait to see what you consider a good date. Fake date? You know what I mean. I smiled at my phone like an idiot, then immediately stopped because I was alone in my apartment and didn't need to perform for anyone. This was fine. This was professional. This was 90 days of content for an app that would launch both our careers. It definitely wasn't the beginning of something real. Definitely not. The staff member, a bored-looking college student named Ryan, gave us the briefing. You're trapped in a malfunctioning AI system. You have 60 minutes to debug the code and escape before the system reboots and deletes all your memories. Questions? Is the code real? I asked. It's an escape room, so... But is the syntax accurate? If I'm solving code puzzles, I want them to be actual code, not pseudocode that wouldn't compile. Ryan looked at Nathan. Is she serious? Unfortunately, yes. I glared at Nathan. We're supposed to be dating. Be supportive. I'm supportively suggesting you let the escape room be fun instead of grading its technical accuracy. I can do both. Ryan cleared his throat. So, I'll just start the timer then? The door locked behind us, and we were in. The room was designed like a server room, blinking lights, fake monitors, and puzzles hidden in mock computer terminals. The first puzzle was a logic gate that opened a drawer. The second was a cipher hidden in binary code. This is amazing, I said, already examining a terminal. Look, they actually used proper Python syntax for this puzzle. Great, Nathan said, working on a physical lock across the room. I'll just be over here doing the non-code puzzles like a caveman. Can you reach that panel above you? He stretched, and I definitely didn't notice how his shirt rode up slightly because I was focused on puzzles, professional puzzles. Got it, he said, pulling down a panel that revealed more code. Okay, I need your brain for this one. I joined him, and we stood close,
Closer than necessary, really, studying the screen. It was a debugging challenge, 10 lines of code with 3 errors. There, I pointed, missing semicolon. And there's a misspelled variable name. Third error is, we both saw it simultaneously, wrong loop condition. Jinx, Nathan said, grinning. We're not 12. You're right, 12-year-olds are better at having fun. I'm having fun. This is fun. You're having what you think fun is, which is work disguised as entertainment. What's wrong with that? He looked at me, and something in his expression shifted. Nothing. Actually, it's kind of perfect. Before I could analyze that statement, a drawer popped open, revealing the next clue. We worked through the room with increasing synchronization. Nathan handled the physical puzzles while I tackled the code. We barely needed to communicate. He'd find something, I'd solve it, we'd move forward. When we got stuck on a particularly difficult cipher, we stood shoulder to shoulder, heads bent over the paper, so close I could smell his cologne, something woodsy and unfortunately appealing. Try shifting the alphabet, he suggested. Already did. It's not a Caesar cipher. What if it's not a substitution at all? What if it's coordinates? I looked at the numbers again. That's actually brilliant. Don't sound so surprised. I occasionally have good ideas. Occasionally is generous. But I was smiling, and when the coordinates unlocked the final puzzle, we both cheered. We escaped with 4 minutes to spare. Ryan looked genuinely impressed. That's the 3rd fastest time we've ever had. You guys make a good team. We're actually not compatible at all, I said quickly. That's the whole point. We're mismatched. Sure, Ryan said, in a tone that suggested he didn't believe me at all. Outside, Nathan pulled out his phone for the mandatory documentation. Nathan posted, Date 2 with @Nadia Sanders, escape room. We escaped. She debugged code puzzles while I mostly looked handsome. Surprisingly functional team for people who allegedly hate each other. #mismatch, #worst match ever, or are we? You can't put or are we, I protested. That implies we're actually compatible. Isn't that the point? To show that mismatch can lead to connection? But we're not actually connecting. This is performance. He looked at me. Really looked at me, and I suddenly felt very visible in a way that had nothing to do with Instagram followers. Right, he said finally, performance. We walked toward the parking garage, and the silence felt different than before, heavier, like there were words we weren't saying floating between us. Same time next week? Nathan asked when we reached my car. That's the deal. It's your turn to choose again. I know. Try to pick something that doesn't involve problem solving or competition. That eliminates all my interests. Exactly. Branch out, Sanders. Show me something you actually enjoy, not something you're good at. What's the difference? That's what you're supposed to figure out. He walked away, and I sat in my car thinking about that distinction. Things I was good at versus things I enjoyed. The Venn diagram in my head showed significant overlap, but maybe not complete overlap. My phone buzzed. Our post was blowing up again. Comments rolled in. The tension between these two is chef's kiss. I ship it. They're definitely going to fall in love by the end, right? This is better than The Office. I closed Instagram and opened my coding editor instead. The mismatch algorithm was running smoothly, matching thousands of people with their worst possible partners. Success, by any metric. So why did I feel like I'd accidentally built something I didn't understand? Chapter 6, The Gala, or When Everything Gets Complicated. Miranda called us into her office on Thursday morning. The board loved your presentation, she said, which I assumed was why Nathan was doing a barely suppressed victory dance with his eyebrows. They want to announce Mismatch at the Tech Innovation Gala next month. The gala? I said. That's huge. It's perfect timing. All the major players will be there. Press, investors, competitors. We'll position Mismatch as Heartware's bold new direction. She looked between us. And you'll both attend. Together. Together as in, Nathan started. As the face of Mismatch, the developer and her supervisor, the perfectly mismatched couple who are making it work. Miranda smiled. PR wants to capitalize on your social media presence. They're calling you the anti-couple. It's trending. After we left Miranda's office, Nathan turned to me. A gala, together. That's professional networking, I suggested. I was going to say terrifying, but sure, let's go with professional networking. You're afraid of galas? I'm afraid of you at a gala. You hate small talk, you don't drink. Last year's holiday party, you spent 2 hours explaining to someone from accounting why blockchain is overhyped. Because it is. You made him cry, Nadia. He made poor investment choices. I was helping. Nathan ran his hand through his hair, his stress tell. Okay, we can do this. It's just a gala. A few hours, smile, network, showcase mismatch, go home. Easy. You're a terrible liar. I'm a great liar. I've been fake dating you for 3 weeks. Something flickered across his face. Right, fake dating. The weeks leading up to the gala passed in a blur of more dates, fake dates, and increasing social media attention. We went to a cooking class, disaster, I burned water, a pottery studio where Nathan made a bowl that looked like something had died, and I made a mug that was actually functional, and a bookstore reading, my choice, which Nathan claimed was the most Nadia thing ever. Each date felt less like performance and more like something else, something I refused to examine too closely. Then came the gala. I stood in my apartment staring at the dress Zara had insisted I buy. Deep blue, elegant, professional, but flattering. I looked like someone who had their life together, which was the greatest act of fiction I'd ever committed. My phone buzzed. Nathan, driver's here. Ready? Me. Define ready. Nathan, dressed, conscious, willing to pretend you like me for 3 to 4 hours. Me, 2 out of 3. Nathan, I'll take it. See you in 5. The car ride to the venue was quiet. Nathan wore a suit that should have been illegal, all sharp lines and tailored perfection. He kept glancing at me, then away, then back again. What? I finally asked. Nothing. You look professional. Professional? Professionally nice. Professionally good. Professional in a way that's... You know what? I'm going to stop talking. That might be best. But I smiled, and he saw it, and something passed between us that felt dangerously like understanding. The gala was held at one of those venues designed to intimidate. Glass walls, modern art, people in expensive clothes having expensive things. We checked in, got our name tags, and immediately became the center of attention. Is that the mismatch couple? I follow them on Instagram. They're even cuter in person. I heard they actually hate each other, which is the best part. Nathan leaned close, his breath warm against my ear. Showtime. We circulated, smiled, answered questions about the app with the careful patter we'd rehearsed. Nathan was charming, naturally, infuriatingly charming, while I tried not to look like I was planning escape routes. Then we encountered my worst nightmare, Bradley Chen, CEO of DateFate, Heartware's main competitor. Nadia Sanders, Bradley said, all teeth and expensive watch. The infamous mismatch creator. Love the concept. Very bold. Bold, I repeated. Building an app that actively works against user happiness? It's certainly a choice. It works toward authentic connection instead of algorithmic compatibility, I corrected. There's a difference. Is there, though? You're still using algorithms, still reducing human connection to date points. At least DateFate is honest about it. Nathan stepped closer, his hand finding the small of my back. For show, I told myself. Definitely for show. And his presence steadied me. Mismatch is doing something actually innovative, Nathan said, his voice pleasant but edged, while DateFate is just another swipe-right clone with a prettier interface. Bradley's smile tightened. And how's your authentic connection going? You two are matched on your own app, right? The ultimate test case. It's going perfectly, I said. Really, because from what I understand, you're 0% compatible. The algorithm's words, not mine. How does that work long term? Maybe compatibility is overrated, Nathan said. Maybe what matters is... Is what? Bradley challenged. Nathan looked at me, and I looked back, and for a moment, we both seemed to forget we were supposed to have an answer. Challenge, I said finally. Growth. Not being so comfortable you stop trying. How romantic, Bradley said, dripping sarcasm. Well, good luck with your experiment. Date fate will still be here when reality sets in. He walked away, and Nathan's hand dropped from my back. I immediately missed the warmth. You okay? He asked. Fine. Bradley Chen is an idiot. Agreed, but he asked a good question. Which one? How does it work long term? Us, I mean, the 0% compatibility thing. It doesn't have to work long term. I counted quickly, 62 days. This ends. We break up, delete the profiles, go back to normal. Right, normal. He looked around the gala, at all the people watching us, and something in his expression made my chest tight. Want to get some air? We found a balcony overlooking the city. San Francisco sparkled below us, all lights and possibilities, and the cool night air was a relief after the crowded venue. Can I ask you something? Nathan said. Is it about code? No. Then probably not. He smiled. Why did you really build Mismatch? Not the PR answer, the real reason. I leaned against the railing, considering my options. I could deflect, make a joke, keep the walls firmly in place. Instead, I told the truth. I got tired of watching people, including myself, chase this idea of perfect compatibility. Like, if we just found the right person, everything would work. But life isn't code. You can't debug a relationship. You can't find the perfect partner by optimizing variables. I paused. My parents had 95% compatibility on every dating algorithm I ever ran. They got divorced when I was 12. I'm sorry. Don't be. They're happier now. My mom's dating a guy who's completely wrong for her on paper, and it's the healthiest relationship I've ever seen her in. I laughed, but it came out bitter. So yeah, I built Mismatch because I'm cynical, because I think we've put too much faith in algorithms to solve human problems. But you still built it using algorithms. Because I'm a hypocrite, obviously. He moved closer, standing beside me at the railing. Our shoulders nearly touched. My parents are divorced too, he said quietly. Dad left when I was 10. He said they'd grown apart, that they weren't compatible anymore, like people are software that becomes obsolete. He looked at me. Is that why you don't date? Really don't date, I mean, not the fake stuff we're doing. Part of it. Also because I'm difficult. You're not difficult. You're specific. That's a nice way of saying difficult. No, it's a way of saying you know what you want. Or, in Mismatch terms, you know what you don't want. We stood in comfortable silence, the city humming below us, and I realized this was the most honest conversation I'd had with anyone in months, maybe years. We should go back inside, I said eventually. Probably. But neither of us moved. Nadia, Nathan said, and something in how he said my name made me turn toward him. He was looking at me with an expression I couldn't decode, something soft and uncertain and dangerous. What? This fake dating thing, it's supposed to end in 62 days. That's the plan. What if... He stopped, started again. What if it doesn't have to? My heart did something acrobatic and unauthorized. What are you saying? I'm saying maybe the algorithm got it wrong, or right, or I don't know what I'm saying. I'm saying that I look forward to Thursdays now, that I think about how to make you laugh, that when you smile at something I said, it's better than any promotion or parking spot or... Nathan, stop. Why? Because this is fake. This was always fake. We set rules. We have a timeline. In 62 days, this ends, and we go back to being colleagues who compete for parking spots. What if I don't want that? Too bad. That's the arrangement. That's what we agreed to. Agreements can change. Not this one. I walked back inside before he could respond, before I could see his face, before I could do something catastrophically stupid like tell him I looked forward to Thursdays too. The rest of the gala passed in a blur.
I networked, I smiled, I answered questions about Mismatch while Nathan stood beside me, professional and distant, like the conversation on the balcony had never happened. We won an innovation award. Miranda gave a speech, we took photos with investors and press and people who would never remember our names. And through it all, I felt Nathan's presence like a physical thing, close but not touching, there but unreachable. The car ride home was silent. When we reached my apartment, I made the mistake of turning to say goodnight. He was already looking at me. Nadia, don't, please. I just need to know if you... Good night, Nathan. I got out of the car and walked to my building without looking back, my heels clicking against pavement, my heart doing things hearts should not do in fake relationships. Inside my apartment, I kicked off the heels, threw my phone on the couch, and stood in the dark, thinking about algorithms and compatibility, and how I'd built an app to prove love was impossible, only to find myself trapped in its own logic. My phone buzzed, one notification. Nathan. For what it's worth, I meant what I said. I didn't respond. Because what could I say? That I felt it too? That every fake date felt less fake? That somewhere between miniature golf and escape rooms and pottery disasters, I'd started to forget this was supposed to be pretend? That would be admitting the one thing I absolutely could not admit. That maybe, just maybe, my anti-dating app had actually worked. Epilogue. 62 days later, or how I learned to stop worrying and love the algorithm. You're an idiot, Zara said, attacking her pad thai with unnecessary violence. A brilliant, successful, complete idiot. I'm aware. He told you he had feelings, real feelings, and you said, "Good night, Nathan." Good night, Nathan. Like he was a driver, a service worker, not the man you've been falling for during your elaborate fake dating scheme. I haven't been falling. Zara pointed her fork at me. Don't even try that. I've watched you for 2 months. You text him good morning. You laugh at his jokes. You wore the approachable sweater to your last 3 dates. 4, I muttered. 4. You wore the relationship sweater 4 times for a fake relationship. It's comfortable. It's a symbol. You're in love with Nathan Stanley and you're too scared to admit it because it doesn't fit in your 5-year plan. I opened my mouth, closed it, opened it again. My 5-year plan is very reasonable. Your 5-year plan doesn't include falling for your office nemesis because of an app you built to prove love is fake. Life doesn't follow plans, Nadia. That's the whole point of your stupid app. I stared at my pad thai. Tomorrow was day 90. The end of our arrangement. The profiles would delete, the fake relationship would end, Nathan and I would return to being colleagues who competed for parking spots and occasionally shared sarcastic comments by the coffee machine. Everything would go back to normal. Except I didn't want normal anymore. What do I do? I asked quietly. You tell him the truth. Which is? Zara smiled. That's something only you can figure out. I spent that night doing what I did best, analyzing data. I pulled up every metric from our 3 months of fake dating. The Instagram posts, the comments, the followers, the engagement rates and sentiment analysis. I built spreadsheets. I created graphs. I did everything possible to reduce our relationship to quantifiable data points. Then I looked at what the data actually said. Our posts together got 300% more engagement than either of us posting alone. Comments consistently mentioned chemistry and authenticity. The algorithm, my own creation, had flagged us as 0% compatible, but user analysis suggested otherwise. People saw something in us that the code couldn't measure. Or maybe the code had measured it all along. I opened Mismatch's backend and examined the matching algorithm I'd built at 2 a.m. in a fit of cynicism. Line by line, variable by variable, following the logic I'd programmed. And there, buried deep in the code, I found it. A recursion error. The algorithm was supposed to find the worst match by identifying opposite traits. But in implementing the logic, I'd accidentally created a double negative. The code was finding opposites of opposites. It was finding perfect matches. My anti-dating app was actually a dating app. I'd accidentally built exactly what I'd been trying to mock. I started laughing.
then crying.
Then laughing again because the universe had a sense of humor and I was the punchline. Mismatch hadn't matched me with Nathan because we were incompatible. It had matched us because despite everything, we were exactly right for each other. I showed up at Nathan's apartment at 11 p.m., which was either romantic or restraining order worthy, depending on his perspective. He answered in sweatpants and a t-shirt that said, "I paused my game to be here," looking confused and beautiful and like everything I didn't know I wanted. "Nadia, what?" "I found a bug in the code." "What?" "Mismatch. There's a recursion error in the compatibility algorithm. It's been matching people correctly this whole time. We're not mismatched. We're perfect." Well, not perfect. Perfect is a meaningless standard in relationship dynamics, but compatible, highly compatible. The algorithm thinks we're, Nadia, a 98% match when you correct for the error, which explains why people kept commenting on our chemistry, because the app was right all along and I'm an idiot who, Nadia. I stopped, breathed, looked at him. "Why are you really here?" he asked quietly. "Because in 62 days of fake dating, I forgot it was fake. Because you know how I take my coffee, and you laugh at my sarcasm, and you made miniature golf fun. Because I broke my own rules about not having feelings, and I'm terrified, and I don't know what I'm doing, but I know that I don't want tomorrow to be the end." "You don't want the arrangement to end?" "I don't want us to end." He stared at me for a long moment. Then he smiled, that smile that made my stomach do acrobatics and pulled me inside. "Do you know how long I've been waiting for you to figure that out?" "Based on our conversation at the gala, approximately 62 days. Try 2 years, since the day you interviewed at Heartware and argued with the CTO about API architecture." Wait, you were there for that? "I was the junior developer taking notes. You were brilliant and terrifying. I've been half in love with you since that moment." "That's statistically improbable." "So is building an anti-dating app that accidentally works. So is fake dating your office rival. So is any of this." He stepped closer, and suddenly we were standing in his doorway like we had at the gala, except this time there was no audience, no performance, just us. Sometimes things don't make sense, Nadia. Sometimes the algorithm gets it wrong, or right, or both. "I'm not good at this," I said, "at feelings, at relationships, at anything that isn't code. I know. I'll probably try to optimize our relationship efficiency. I'm counting on it. And I'm still taking your parking spot. Obviously, I wouldn't expect anything less." He kissed me then, or I kissed him, or we kissed each other, and it was nothing like the movies. It was awkward and uncertain, and his glasses bumped my face, and I nearly tripped over his doorframe. It was perfect. 3 months later. Mismatch became the most downloaded dating app of the year, not because it matched people incorrectly, but because it didn't. Once I fixed the code and explained the error publicly, the app became a story about how sometimes the things we build to protect ourselves end up connecting us instead. Nathan got promoted to Senior Development Lead. I got promoted to Chief Technology Officer. We still competed, but now we did it while sharing an apartment and arguing about whose turn it was to debug the latest crisis. The parking spot remained contested. "This is your fault," I told Nathan one morning, reviewing user complaints about a matching glitch. "How is this my fault? You wrote the algorithm. You distracted me with your face." "My face? What did my face do?" "It was present and symmetrical. It affected my concentration." He kissed my forehead. "You're the weirdest person I've ever met." "The algorithm says we're 98% compatible." "The algorithm also matched you with me as a joke." "Best joke I ever told." Miranda called us into her office 6 months after the gala. We walked in together. We did most things together now, which was both efficient and insufferable, depending on who you asked. "Sit," Miranda said. "We need to talk about Mismatch." Nathan and I exchanged glances. Had someone sued? Had we violated privacy laws?
Had Bradley Chen finally found a legitimate complaint? We've been approached by a major streaming service, Miranda continued. They want to make a documentary about Mismatch, about you two specifically. The app developer who accidentally matched herself with her perfect partner while trying to prove perfect partners don't exist. That's incredibly specific, I said. It's also incredibly good PR. They're offering a significant licensing fee. Plus, it would position Heartware as an industry innovator. What do we have to do? Nathan asked. Interviews, behind-the-scenes footage, letting cameras follow you for a few weeks. She smiled. Essentially, more of what you've already been doing, just with better production value. I looked at Nathan. He looked at me. Will it involve miniature golf? I asked. Almost certainly, Miranda said. Then I'm in. Nathan laughed. You hate miniature golf. I hated miniature golf. Past tense. Now it's tolerable because of the company. That's the most romantic thing you've ever said to me. Don't get used to it. I'm still fundamentally cynical about love. And yet you're dating me? Yes, well, everyone has inconsistencies in their personal philosophy. Miranda cleared her throat. Should I take that as a yes? We nodded. Excellent. I'll have legal draft the contracts. She paused. For what it's worth, I'm glad you two figured it out. The romantic tension was affecting office productivity. After we left, Nathan pulled me into the empty conference room. So, he said, documentary, our relationship on display for the entire internet. Terrifying. Completely. Want to back out? Not a chance. He kissed me, quick and sure. Besides, maybe we'll inspire other cynical app developers to accidentally fall in love with their office rivals. That's a very specific demographic. We're a very specific couple. We're a statistically improbable couple. The best kind. I kissed him again, there in the conference room where we'd spent 2 years competing, arguing, and apparently falling in love without realizing it. Outside, the city hummed with life. Thousands of people swiping right and left, searching for connection, hoping algorithms could solve the unsolvable problem of human hearts. I'd built an app to prove them wrong. Turns out, I'd proven myself wrong instead. And for the first time in my carefully planned life, I was absolutely fine with that. Final post on @MismatchApp. After 90 days of documenting our worst match, we have an announcement. We're still together. Turns out, when you build an anti-dating app as satire, the universe responds with irony. @Nadia Sanders and @Nathan Stanley, matched by an algorithm designed to fail, succeeded by every metric that matters. Mismatch isn't about finding your worst partner. It's about discovering that sometimes what you think you don't want is exactly what you need. So, swipe left on your preconceptions. Swipe right on possibility. And if you find yourself matched with someone who seems completely wrong, give it 90 days. You might be surprised. #mismatch. #worst match ever. #or best match actually. #swipe left on my life. Happily ever algorithm. Comments, 47,293. Likes, 892,476. Zara Marketing, I told you so. I get to be maid of honor, right? Bradley Chen, Date Fate. Congrats. Still think our algorithm is better. Miranda Chen, CEO. Proud of my team. Also, please stop making out in the conference room. Nathan Stanley. Best bug I ever encountered. Nadia Sanders. That emoji is unnecessary and sentimental. Nathan Stanley. You love it. Nadia Sanders. Fine. The end.
I love making these videos for you. If you liked this story, then please like, subscribe to my channel, and switch on the notifications for more entertaining stories. Please also leave a comment for any story suggestions.